Hey you guys, it's Cayley. I am back with another What's Sold video. We're going to talk about what's sold on all the platforms that I sold on last week, and I'll share some highlighted sales with you. We're going to dive right in, but before we do, I wanted to let everybody know, because I've gotten so many comments about it. I got a new mic to do the screen record, meaning when I'm showing you my screen and talking on my computer to stream over. I've had a lot of comments about the audio being too poor quality to be able to listen to. And while most of you, I would say that's only about like maybe 1% of comments, but it's been enough times now that I felt that I had to get this. This is the #1 rated on Amazon. It is the Blue Yeti. You can see it's very robust. It's kind of heavy. I've looked up the best settings to have this on because there are multiple settings. So all this to say is if you're still having issues hearing me, this is the best I can do. I mean, this is literally the best that I can do. So I don't know what to tell you if you're not hearing it, but hopefully this fixes some of those audio issues. I'm excited to have this. It's very professional. Let's dive into sales. Okay, so all of these sales that you see here happen between August 15th through the 21st. That is a Sunday through a Saturday. Total, I sold 68 items for a gross sales total of $2,482.47, making my average sale price $36.51. Typically, I'm spending between $4 and $5 on average per each item that I pick up, and then fees and supplies do vary depending on which platform you're on and what kind of shipping you like to use. On eBay, I sold 41 items. On Poshmark, I sold 24. And then on other platforms, I had 2 sales on Mercari, and I actually had 1 on Grailed. I kind of forgot that I listed anything on Grailed. It's just kind of been sitting there. But I got an email that I had a pretty nice offer, so I went ahead and took it and got that shipped out, and I'll share that with you towards the end of the video. On eBay, I sold just over $1,500. On Poshmark, just over $700. And then combined between Mercari and Grailed, I sold $189 last week. Let's dive into the sales. We'll go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of it. We'll start with eBay, as this is where I make majority of my sales. This was an item I picked up at a consignment shop, so I actually paid up a little bit for it. I paid $9.74 for this, and it ended up selling for my full asking price of $44.99. This is a vintage Polo Ralph Lauren leather crossbody bag. This had the houndstooth print all over it, and again, it was leather. I picked this up back when that academia trend was really popular, which I thought this kind of went with that dark academia vibe. But it didn't end up selling till this past week. So this sold for my full asking price plus shipping. Typically, when I'm spending about $10 on something, I like to get at least $40 for it. This was a pretty cool vintage 90s shirt that I picked up. It actually had the 1999 dating, and it just said, "I dress like this to piss you off." I figured this would be really popular, and I marketed this as a 90s goth t-shirt. And something about it just told me it would do well. So the black was a little bit faded, as you can see, but I think that only adds to the character of vintage items. I accepted a best offer on this of $45. This is another Ralph Lauren piece that I picked up. I picked this one up because it was a reversible trench coat. Not really any special materials, but it also had that houndstooth plaid print, which again was really popular when that dark academia vibe came out, as well as just in general a desired pattern. With it being a trench coat, it was a more substantial piece. I paid $6.99 for this, a little bit more than I normally would, but again, because it was such a substantial piece and because it was Ralph Lauren, I decided to pick it up. When it comes to reversible pieces, you want to look in the pockets to be able to find the brand tag, size, and material information. So this is a photo of that. I accepted a best offer of $48.79. Next is a brand I highly recommend you pick up, especially during fall and winter. It is Eileen Fisher. When you pair this brand with really nice materials like silk and cashmere, it can do extremely well. I had this listed for $34.91. It's just an open silk cashmere cardigan. It sold on an offer for $29.67. I think you're going to see a couple Duluth Trading Company pieces. This is a brand I find quite often and have been picking it up pretty often. In general, I would say it has an extremely high sell-through rate. I would say that you want to be careful about the style. Definitely do a comp on the gender and the style. This is a men's plaid flannel shirt, and it was a larger size in an XL. This sold for my full asking price very quickly of $24.92, which isn't a huge sale. Usually thrift stores are not pricing this brand up, and it flips very quickly. This one I had to throw out because when I did a thrift haul about this item, I told everybody I thought this was a higher designer brand, which is, I think, pronounced Bergdorf Goodman. And a lot of people in the comments were surprised that I had not heard of this brand and basically told me it was kind of mixed. Some people said, oh, that's a great pickup. Some people said that this was just sold at like Macy's or another brand like that, and it wasn't really worth much. It was more like a house brand. I picked it up really based on style and the fact that it was silk. And I wanted to bring this up because even though I had people telling me that this wasn't worth a whole lot, I actually ended up selling it for $80, which was a best offer that I accepted. I probably would have picked this up regardless of brand anyways, but I would say that I personally, in my opinion, think that this is a good brand. So this was just a vintage silk nightgown. If you are passing on the sleepwear section, you're doing yourself a disservice because there is a ton of highly profitable items over there that a lot of resellers are skipping on. You're going to see a lot of Ralph Lauren in my videos because it's one of my favorite brands to pick up in a lot of their lines. This is a new with tags Polo Ralph Lauren men's jeans. I was really shocked to find this at the thrift store. I only paid $4.99 for it. And as you can see, new with tags, pretty decent size. And these are called the Varick Slim 625 jeans. If you come across this even pre-owned, I'd say it's definitely worth picking up. As you can see, it retails for a lot, but even pre-owned, you're still going to get a good chunk of change. This one I had listed for about $75, and I accepted an offer for $67.45. Next one is a brand that I have just recently learned about. It's called House of Howl, which I think is the same line as the Howl shorts, but this one is House of Howl. And I picked this up at the bin, so it only cost me probably a couple dollars to get this. And specifically these black kind of goth looking jackets do extremely well. I would say when I looked up this brand, if I remember correctly, it did not have a high sell-through rate, but the things that were selling were these types of jackets, and they were selling for quite a bit. This one I accepted an offer of $42 on. I mentioned this in a couple of videos, but there is a website called Huckberry, and they sell some higher end clothing, men's clothing, and there are quite a few brands on there. I would say maybe like about 10 brands that they sell on there, but they consistently sell everything that they come out with. A lot of people don't know about these brands, but every time that I find them, I pick them up because even though there's not a ton of information on eBay, they always sell quickly and for good money. One of the brands I can think of is Flint and Tinder. I know I've mentioned before. This one is Hill City. And when I looked up this brand on Google, I saw that it was sold on Huckberry, and I immediately picked it up. If you're not familiar with this website, I would go on there and learn the men's brands that are on there because, again, even though they're not showing up in comps, they do extremely well. So this was a pre-owned Hill City men's sweatshirt, and it sold for my full asking price of $39.96. Next is a John Varvatos 100% linen shirt. Upon coming across this, you would think this is just a regular men's t-shirt, but I do know that the brand John Varvatos has a pretty good sell-through rate. Now, not all the t-shirts sell for this much, but this one was made of linen, and those do extremely well. So even pre-owned, I got $45 for this shirt, or a pre-owned t-shirt. Amazing. So keep your eye out for this brand, especially when it comes to better fabrics. Here is another Polo by Ralph Lauren piece. This is a men's 100% lamb's wool hooded sweater. When I came across this, I could not find any information about this specific piece on eBay. I could not find an exact comp, so I kind of just had to trust my gut and price for what I thought was a fair price. So I ended up pricing this for $59.98. It quickly sold on an offer for $53.98. If you come across anything unique like this, first make sure that it is actually authentic, but anything with a really nice material in a modern style typically does well. Just make sure and do your comps. This is a JCrew piece, definitely not a brand I pick up often, but when I do, it's usually something very unique. So this appears to be a newer label, and it just says Badlands across it. So it was a more substantial piece in a sweatshirt. It was unique because of the Badlands graphic. I almost didn't pick this up because it was a size extra small, but I'm glad I did because the Badlands sweatshirts in JCrew have a great sell-through rate, and basically all I did was search JCrew women's Badlands sweatshirt, and I quickly saw that this exact sweatshirt had sold pretty frequently. Listed this for $24.98. It sold on an offer for $22.48, and again, a very quick flip. Moving on to some Poshmark sales. This is a pink by Victoria's Secret sweatshirt. Not much to say here, but I did want to show this because a lot of people pass on this brand, and it is actually on the top selling brands list of Poshmark. And if I come across it at the bins in good condition, I usually pick it up, especially when it is a more substantial piece like this sweatshirt, long sleeve polo shirt. This sold very quickly at $21. This is a Dingo leather cowboy boot. Dingo is a brand I do like picking up, but I will say that normally when I come across it, it is in very poor condition. These ones were in pretty good condition and they sold for $45. This is something I took a chance on. The brand is Peter Millar, which is normally a brand that I pick up in men's pieces. I don't normally pick it up in women's. And when I tried to do comps on Peter Millar dresses, I couldn't find hardly anything, but I decided to pick it up because it was a substantial piece in a really good brand and it felt very high quality. This ended up selling for $50, and in general, I would say Peter Millar is worth picking up in almost anything. Another one of my favorite brands to sell is Cool. This is a flight fleece jacket. We were able to find the style name. We actually picked this up at the bins, as well as another Cool piece that was in the same bin that people had passed over. I always look out for this little logo because almost everything in this brand sells quickly and for good money. This ended up selling quickly for $45. I think everybody knows Lululemon, but I don't think everybody knows that they sell men's pieces. And if you're not currently in the men's section and you just want to kind of dip your toes in, one thing you can do is go through the men's athletic pants section and just kind of run your hands along to see if you feel anything high quality, and then check to see if it's Lululemon. The only way I knew these were Lululemon was because of the logo right here. And then I looked for the size dot and searched a section of these numbers on the size dot to figure out that they were called the Lululemon ABC men's pants. Sold very quickly for $40. It did have a small spot. Otherwise, I probably would have priced it a lot higher. Another leather coach bag sold. I've been selling a lot of vintage looking leather coach bags, and so I'm going to continue picking them up even if I have to pay up for them because, like I said, they have been flipping quickly. When it comes to coach bags, you want to make sure they're authentic, and you want to make sure to look up this number to make sure that it's pulling up on Google. Make sure you've got an authentic item. That's not the only way to tell, but that is the main way to figure it out. So this was a black leather satchel laptop bag. There was some distressing on the leather, which we did note, but overall in pretty good condition for its age, and this sold for $59. Another thing that I really like picking up at the bins is bras and bralettes and sports bras. I just recently learned about this brand, which has a great sell-through rate, so if you find these at the bins, definitely worth picking up. This one sold for $21, and again, that was pre-owned, found at the bins. These are a pair of Levi's women's 720 high-rise super skinny jeans. I keep an eye out for these newer label Levi's jeans. Not to say that you should pick up every single one you come across. However, I picked this one up because it was a larger size in a size 33, which tends to have a better sell-through rate than some of the smaller sizes. These sold pretty quickly for $29. One of my best sales last week, and finally the sweater sold. I picked this up towards the end of the cold weather season at the beginning of this year. Found this as well as some other really amazing high quality sweaters. This one was the last one to sell, and it is the brand Duel. If you ever come across this brand, I would just say pick it up. They sell more than just sweaters. They sell dresses and different things. But I happened to find a sweater at a thrift store. Was really shocked at the comps. This one was called the Peruvian Alpaca Asis sweater. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. Really gorgeous, really high quality. This ended up selling for $105, and you can see I had a ton of likes on this. 122 people liked this item on Poshmark, and I had a ton of watchers on other platforms as well. So if you come across this brand, definitely worth looking into. Something else you can pick up in sweaters, not as exciting, but definitely good flips, are the Arnold Palmer Robert Bruce Alpaca Wool Cardigans. I come across these pretty much every year and almost always pick them up because they have a really good sell-through rate and they sell for good money. This one was, I think, a more desirable color. It was kind of like that orangey brown, and it sold for $50. Here's another Duluth Men's Trading Company item. These are called the Flex Fire Hose, and they sold for $29. Again, just a brand with a pretty good sell-through rate in almost all their pieces. Moving on to the off-the-wall sales, this is that Grailed sale that I got. I've had this sweater for so long. It is a Canali. Here is the brand label. Men's cashmere crew neck pullover. Canali is a very high retailing brand, but does not always resell very quickly. And as you can see from the background, I have been sitting on the sweater for quite some time. But I am happy that I picked it up because it ended up selling on an offer for $98. I pretty much only have a small handful of things listed on Grailed, and I again kind of forgot that they were over there. But if they're selling, I will ship them out. I'm just not listing anything new on any place except for eBay and Poshmark right now. This was an item that was already on Mercari. It is the Rule number 925 men's hooded sweatshirt. This is a brand I also recommend you pick up in men's clothing. In particular, the jeans do extremely well, so I always look up anything that's not jeans. This was just a men's hoodie, and it sold for $40 with free shipping. This, I believe, used to be sold by Abercrombie & Fitch, and it is they're no longer making this brand, so it has an extremely high sell-through rate in a lot of pieces, but particularly the men's, people buy them up. So keep your eye out for this brand. All right, guys, so that is it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content and you're not already subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out, as well as the notification bell. That way you get notified when I make new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. It really helps my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.